corporation. We declare that we legally own our own data. We possess both legal and moral rights to control our own data. Posts that appear on social networks should be able to be served, like email and blogs from many individual services that we individually control, rather than from databases that corporations exclusively control or from any central repository. Just as no one has the right to eavesdrop on private conversations in homes without extraordinarily good reasons, so also the privacy rights of users must be preserved against criminal, corporate, and government monitoring for private content. The protocols must support strong end-to-end encryption and other good privacy practices. As is the case with the Internet Domain Name System, lists of available user feeds should be restricted by technical standards and protocols only, never according says that my YouTube stream is working just fine. So my video's here, my audio's here. Hello. Everything should be working just fine on YouTube. My stream content is green 5x5 all the way. Everything should be sounding wonderful. Social media applications should make available data input by the user at the user's sole discretion to be distributed by all other publishers according to common global standards and protocols, just as are email and blogs, with no publisher being privileged by the network above another. Accordingly, social media applications should aggregate posts from multiple independent data sources as determined by the user, and in an order determined by the user's preferences, not the corporation. Users should expect to be able to participate in the new networks and to enjoy the rights above enumerated without special technical skills. We hold that to embrace these principles is to return to the sounder and better practices of the earlier Internet, and which were, after all, the foundation for the brilliant rise of the Internet. It wasn't until the tech giants took it over and decided what they were going to list as the top choices or the top resources that show up in the browser because of our search words. We put in search words because we're looking for the top sites that speak about or give us information on those search words, not the ones that the browser owner, the tech giant, decides that we should know. Many people out there have seen their content go from very decent returns on the browsers to nothing, just because of the algorithms that are working against them. And there's another algorithm that works against everybody, and that is the algorithm of the slave score. Everybody knows what the slave score is, right? We've talked about that before on this program. You all know what the slave score is. The Credit Bureau is the most insidious labeling organization in the world. I'm serious. China has nothing on these people. Nothing. If you lose your job and you miss a few payments, you will be sentenced to 7 years in financial purgatory. That's longer than most crimes, except for murder. And it has gotten worse. Way worse. And that's the problem. When it comes to spying on people, the government has no competition. The Chinese government is currently implementing a social credit system to monitor its 1.3 billion citizens. China has already 200 million public surveillance cameras. Facial recognition technology and personal data from cell phones and digital transactions are being used to collect intimate details about people's lives, including their purchasing habits and whom they socialize with. The gathered data is used to create mandatory social credit ratings for every single citizen. And these ratings will score the citizens' general worthiness and provide those with higher scores opportunities like jobs, loans, travel. Those with lower scores will not have access to those opportunities. Now, while the United States government has yet to implement such a system, believe me, they're getting close. Companies in the country are doing this already. Consumer advocates are pushing regulators to investigate what they paint as a shadowy online practice, where retailers are actually using consumer information collected by data brokers to decide how much to charge individual customers or the quality of service they will offer them. Like there's a one company called Pound Represent, or hashtag Represent, a public interest group that's run by Consumer Education Foundation in California. They filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission Monday of this last week, asking the agency to investigate what the group is calling surveillance scoring of customers' financial status or creditworthiness. Oh no, it's true. You call it a FICO score, right? The FICO score, your little 550 or 650 or 750 or 850 score, whatever it is you have, that's your slave score. That's what the credit bureau rates you based on the amount of debt that you carry and your ability to service that debt. If you have too little debt or no debt, you score very low. You don't have enough enslavement to the system. If your debt is too high, then you're too risky. You're not making enough money, and you might make a risky decision, and you might miss a payment. So they're going to rank you lower. To date, nobody in the entire world knows how the credit bureau scores you. You know what your score is, right? You know, we didn't used to have those. You could just walk into a bank, look the banker in the eye, shake their hand, borrow the money, open your business, and you were off and running. Believe me, tens of millions of businesses had been started that way for 200 years, maybe more, since the year 1675. It goes back a long, long way. And then the credit bureau stepped in. And then the credit bureau invented the FICO score. One number to rule them all. What you're rated. You're a good slave. You've been in debt for a long time, just the right amount, for just the right amount of period of time, and you've made just the right number of payments to the system. But don't make too much money. Don't make too much money, because if you make too much money, then you don't need to use that credit card. You can actually go buy what you want with the money you have in your checking account. In other words, oh my gosh, you're living within your means. You're living within your means. Holy crap. You can make your house payment. You've paid your cars off. You've paid your student loans off. You've paid all your furniture off. You own everything in your house. Your stereo, your clothes, the meals that you ate last year. You own all that stuff. The only thing you have now is a house payment. Or maybe you've paid your house off. A lot of people have. Believe it or not, a lot of people have paid their houses off. But then guess what happens? No good. Not enough in debt. You're not a good slave. You're making too much money. And so you get scored low. You see, the paragraphs of this 38-page complaint are actually chilling. I'm just going to read you a few of them. And I quote, "Major American corporations, including online and retail businesses, employers, and landlords, the places that you rent from, are using secret surveillance scores to charge some people higher prices for the same product than other people. Why? To provide some people with better customer service than others. Why? To deny some consumers the right to purchase services or to buy or return products, while allowing others to do so and even to deny people housing and jobs or dating services. Why? The secret surveillance scores are generated by a shadowy group of private busting firms that operate in dark recesses of the American marketplace. They collect tens of thousands of intimate details on each person's life. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away. More X Squared Radio coming at you right after
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the last scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Tried to adjust my sound pressures on YouTube, So we'll try to see what that comes out like. Make sure the sound pressures are good. If we get some feedback from the crowd, that'll really help us a lot. Also, the call-in line is 213-233-3998. Had 3 callers in the last segment, but we couldn't hear any of them. Let's try Las Vegas again, see if you can be heard this time. Las Vegas, welcome to the program. How are you? Let's see here. All right, let's do this. Let's click this. And now let's see if we can hear Las Vegas. Are you there?
Yes, Brooks, I am. Thank you very much.
All right, there we go. There we go. So what's on your mind, my friend?
Well, just Chris in Las Vegas. I saw you at a convention here recently and got one of your books, and I was listening to your comments very intently about the imposter public official Kamala Harris and how she stole an official office of the people with her treachery, deviosity, and sexual prowess.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly the way I described it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it seems like somebody rising to an auspicious office of high office in government should obviously be impeached and probably imprisoned for her nefarious behavior, seizing an office without the lawful right to occupy it.
Well, that is pretty much the way I see it. I mean, when you see the behavior pattern of a climber, somebody that at age 29 will sleep her way into Willie Brown's office, then get appointed to a cushy job. She only has to show up once a month, and she's getting paid $72,000 a year. And then she runs for attorney general, is losing the election, suddenly calls up Ballots R Us. They magically make votes for her opponent disappear, and she mysteriously wins the election. This is the kind of behavior pattern that we see with these very dangerous political climbers.
It borders on political psychopathy, and it would certainly appear that she was tampering with the election, fixing the election to her own predatory self-interest and advantage.
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, and I think that's what she was doing too. I mean, what really bothers me is that for some reason the public can't see this. They're not being shown this. They're not able to see what she's doing, because the press, I guess they just leave Democrats alone or whatever it is, but for some reason they're not representing it correctly.
Well, some assume and observe correctly, I think, that the Mockingbird CIA-controlled press has a real problem with seeing all the facts. In fact, they seem to be very jaundiced in their journalism tactics.
Well, I mean, obviously, the mainstream media or the fake stream news is owned by a very small number of people, and they have their own ideas as to what the public needs to know and what they don't need to know. And they get to talking points. They know what to do. But I don't understand why they're taking this risk, because Kamala Harris is not Barack Obama. Kamala Harris has 1% of the vote. I mean, she's not even as popular as Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is on oxygen right now. I think it's a clown car. What do you think?
I think you're exactly right. The stage actors that are pretending to be politicos, which in most cases are not qualified to hold the office or even that of a stage actor, because they're so blatant in their fraud of the people. It would seem that Kamala Harris, not being black, as Obama was only half black, is imposturing and gaining political advantage through usurping titles of particular racial advantage, much like Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little more obvious what's going on there, but It could be, that there's some advantage to be taken, or at least some defense mechanism to be capitalized upon by saying, "Oh, you can't hurt me because I'm an African American." But she's not an African American. She's a Jamaican, and she's Indian, and she was born in this country to non-citizens. And I believe, I think I'm right on this. You know the Constitution as well as I do. I believe when it says that you are a natural-born citizen, that you are born to American citizens in this country.
I think that includes both parents, both the progenitor and the spermatologic contributor.
I mean, Obama ostensibly was born in Hawaii, or maybe he was born in Kenya, but he was born to an American citizen. But she was not born to American citizens, although she was born in America.
Well, that anchor-making position is not a natural-born citizen, is it?
No, it is not. I think that in order to be, the definition of a natural-born citizen is that you are born to an American citizen, and you don't necessarily have to be born on American soil. There are children that are born in foreign countries while their parents are serving overseas, but they don't want that child growing up in a foreign country and then coming back here to run for president. There is a residency requirement as well, which Kamala Harris does not meet because she lived from age 8 until 18 in Canada.
That's not America. The last time I checked, although I understand it was originally contemplated to be part of it at the original founding, but they opted not to follow that position.
Well, I also don't think they bus black kids to white schools, last time I checked.
Well, I thank you for letting me chime in, Brooks, but I'm sure you have other material information to bring to the people, so thank you very much for your due diligence and investigative journalistic skills.
Thank you very much, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a very good weekend. All right, let's go ahead and go to Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina, you are on X Squared Radio.
Hey, Brooks, can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Great. Hang on a second, Brooks.
That's okay.
Carrying two guys in a wheelchair here. Sorry, you just cut me in when I was helping you. Sorry.
You're just over the border. I was in South Carolina on Friday, down there in Anderson, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, that's right up above Abbeville, where I'm from.
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was wanting to come in before when you were talking about the electrical system.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I was part of, back then, but you covered other areas that I wanted to comment on as well, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I was one of the top salesmen for the variable speed heat pump. I trained that was rated at a SEER, that's the Synergy Energy Efficiency Rating, SEER, at 16 compared to the rest of the community in heating and air conditioning was a 12. The highest, I think, was 12.5. But the variable speed heat pump was designed by NASA engineers, and I got to meet one of the NASA engineers. Demanded to have one in his home. He taught me more about it than the people at training. But also was associated with the guy that did the free heating system. Are you familiar with that?
The which system?
Free heating system.
I don't remember
free heater.
The free heater. I don't remember that one.
Okay. Basically, what he did, he got a national award for it, was at Furman University, and they had a compressor room in their cafeteria. And about every 6 months, they were changing out almost all of their compressors. And so he came in and started evaluating their system and said, look, I can generate more hot water than you can use in this cafeteria. I can save your maintenance people from servicing these compressors every 6 months. And I can guarantee you will come out a whole lot lighter on your electrical bill. Well, that was beyond their scope. They were in Furman University, one of the universities that were doing a lot of solar research and implementing them. They won numerous awards on energy efficiency systems. But this one was the ticket. So they haven't changed the compressor that I know of as today. And this is in 19, let's see, I think it was right around 89. And they made more hot water they could use in the cafeteria. It generated that much hot water for the cafeteria. But it also saved the compressors, which was high maintenance area for them. And it lowered their bill on the electrical refrigeration system.
Now, what made this compressor so unique? Is this where they were using the liquid cooled condenser?
It wasn't a compressor. It was a hot water system. It was a system that brought the hot line into the vat of water to cool the Freon.
Right.
To take the heat off of the Freon.
Right.
And it transferred rather than air. Okay? If it was more, say, had the maximum amount of Freon, heat in the water, that they set the temperature in the tanks, then the outside unit would come on and blow the heat off the coils. But they very rarely did that because they were using hot water 24/7 in the cafeteria.
Sure. Yeah, they used the hot water and kept replenishing it with cold water, and that was able to carry away the heat off the condenser.
But it was making hot water flowing freely.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Excellent.
So they didn't use gas for hot water now. Now let me tell you that if every cafeteria, every restaurant used the system, they would not have to replace their outside condensing unit, the fan motors, those things that go out on it, and that's what destroys the compressor. They would not have to use that, but maybe 1/3 at the time at the most, maybe 1/10 of the time at the most, to blow off the heat of the compressor.
Right.
He won a national award with this thing. And I happened to be a partner with him when I was putting in the LSV heat pump by train. And that was a phenomenon too in that era because the rural electric system put a meter on the unit. They told the guy who worked for them, if you put this unit in, what you're interested in, and the contractor suggests you do this, we will pay for the unit. You take a record on what it does, every 24 hours. So they put a meter on the unit. I installed the system. This was they wanted it during the air conditioning system time, the season. So he kept a record every day. When they moved in, every day he kept a record on the outdoor temperature, the indoor temperature, and how long it ran, what the meter reader was, and all this stuff. So I had an interview with the manager of the rural electric system in Abbeville. He said, I need to talk to you. And it's very interesting what we came up with the way they paid for the unit. He said, now I didn't go back and check on what he was doing, and I didn't want to interfere with him. One day I walked up to check on and see how they were doing, and the wife was wearing a sweater, and this is the dead of summer, 100-degree temperature.
That's when you know the air conditioner is working well.
I tell you, her lips were blue, okay? And I said, why are you wearing a sweater? She said, I'm freezing to death in here. They want us to keep the temperature inside at 72. I said, no. You ought to have 78 temperature or 80-degree temperature to be comfortable in this house. You don't need, she said, we have to set it at 72 degrees inside. I said, oh my word. So she went through 3.5 months, 4 months after that, of 72 temperature in the house. Brooks, I sat down with the manager of the whole system. He looked at me, he said, what you said that unit could do wasn't even close. It was better than what you said it would be.
Yeah.
See, I told him that the SEER rating of 16 was way, way off. But it was probably around 26 SEER back then. And he just looked at me and said, well, let me tell you what he got. The highest he got was $2.17 for 24 hours usage in the house at 72 degrees temperature. On the hottest summer we've ever had here was constant 100 degree temperature in the daytime.
Now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about it though. What is the difference in the cost per ton to put this kind of system in, say, a home compared to an ordinary heat pump that works here in North Carolina?
Or South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, okay. I was top salesman in little old bitty 5,000 population inside the city limits of South Carolina and 5,000 outside the community, outside in the county back then. And another guy was in North Charleston, and we were the two top salesmen of this one unit in South Carolina. North Carolina was a top salesman state. I didn't know what their population was in selling it. South Carolina and North Carolina were two top sales for this one unit in the whole United States.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Now, what you asked me was what again now about
what was the cost per ton
of the unit?
Yeah, the cost per ton
to put the system in. Okay.
Compared to a heat pump.
Okay. Okay. It was twice as much as a regular system. But what we did, we put a return in every room to efficiently turn the air over in the house, which is totally got me. You got to have that return air. You have one return, you're only returning the air in the hallway that seeps through the doors. But if you turn the air over in every room, you are getting the efficiency out of the system that you paid for. And the payback on the system was basically to equal a unit that was on the conventional system now was a year and a half savings.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, suppose a house needed, let's say, a 5-ton unit or 4-ton unit. If it's twice as expensive, it would probably take 3, maybe 4 years to offset the cost in electric bill for the heat pump compared to the water-cooled condenser.
No.
Really?
This was a variable speed heat pump. Yes. Let's relate it to your car. When you back out of your driveway, you put it in reverse, and you just barely touch the foot feed, and your motor just backs up the car, at a certain speed.
Yep.
On a regular unit, I don't care if you're backing up or you're going forward, it's going full blast out, and it's all the way
yeah,
full
that's
blast.
true. That's true. It
right?
draws. You're right. Variable speed is much
and
more
the
efficient.
The startup is your one that uses up more electricity than anything. It's when you start up, boom.
Sure.
Right then and there, you're burning electricity. This thing gradually found out where it needed to go in the next 5 minutes to reach the temperature that you set it at.
A soft start.
Time.
Nice soft start.
Yes. Yes. And so this guy was sitting there behind it. Are you sitting down? Because it's going to fool you what he said to me. I said, well, since you got such a good reading on this, am I going to get a good referral by your electric co-op system? This is in all the county, Abbeville and Anderson and McCormick and all, the rural areas in that part of South Carolina.
Yeah.
And he said, Bruce, I'm going to tell you, we can't promote the system for you or promote the system because We invested in the water source heat pump. The groundwater,
Yeah.
pulling it out of the water, and cooling the outdoor unit, it's pumping it out in the yard. We're all invested all the way through the country. The rural electric systems have invested all their, capital into the water source heat pump. And I just looked at him. I said, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "You're pumping water out from the well
Yeah.
and pumping it on the ground to cool your house with, and you don't want to promote this system?" He said, "We can't, Bruce. I'm telling you, we can't." I said, "This is crap."
Yeah.
I told him
because I mean, look at the money you would save heating your
same
water.
Thing. Right? Yes, that's right. See, that was the thing before this involvement of the variable speed heat pump that was designed. It was a DC motors, all the DC motors. And the guy from NASA explained to me, the smallest motor in this unit could pull this house down in time. It might not do it today or tomorrow, but if you change it up to a stud on this house, it would pull this house down. It wouldn't stop turning. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The longevity of these motors will last lifetime."
Oh, no
this
doubt
is like
about
a
it.
Hand-me-down unit.
A DC motor will last for 100 years.
Yes. Now, see, that's what I was up against when I was doing heating air conditioning systems. Man, people were stopping me on the street asking me, "What did you put in so-and-so's house?" They can't believe it. Every room, you walk in the room, you can't hear the... Oh, I'll tell you this one, too. You'll love this. I installed a system for a brand new house, upstairs and downstairs. And so, the power was coming in to evaluate the system to see if it had any leaks in the ductwork system, because leakage is a waste and of air, and so you'd be cooling the outside air instead of bringing everything into the house. That was their efficiency stuff. So I'm on the road and I get a call, and the guy from Duke Power, he said, "Where's so-and-so's house that you just put this unit in? And is this thing on?" I said, "Yes, it's on."
And it's not spitting the
nobody's
motor off
moved
the
in it
wall.
yet.
It's not.
Right, and they couldn't hear it because it was already cooled the house down, and it was running low crawl, and they said, we put our stuff on the ductwork. This is basically a package they put over the ductwork to see how much pressure is coming out of the ductwork inside it. And if there's low pressure, then there must be a hole somewhere underneath the house that has a gaping hole in it. And it wasn't registering like a regular conventional system.
Exactly.
You got me? Blowing out like crazy. Okay, now. So they called me. I said, "Oh, yeah, the system's on. I'll tell you what you do."
We got 30
this is
seconds.
The group from Greenwood.
We got 30 seconds.
Okay, from Greenwood. I said, "Go outside and put your hand on the outdoor unit." Well, we've gone outside. I said, "Put your hand on the unit and see if it's vibrating a little bit. You can feel it. You might not hear it, but you can feel it."
Yeah.
That's how they realized the unit was running for only.
Interesting. I love the way
Yes.
great
and this was back
technology.
in '89.
Great technology gets buried because it's not using enough energy. I really appreciate the call tonight.
Thank you, Brooks, for taking the call.
All right. Wow, I love those technology calls. That's so good. Listen, we have a caller in Louisville. I'm going to bring him on now, and then we're going to go to break, and we'll continue the conversation. Louisville, Kentucky, you are on X Squared Radio. What's on your mind?
Hello. Yeah,
Hi.
this is Dale, Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, I had a question about nuclear power.
Sure.
As far as I'm aware of, back in the early 70s is when they quit constructing nuclear power plants. Like at Marble Hill, which was close to Louisville, was under construction and then was stopped. And since then, no new nuclear power has been constructed. And my question is, if they were to construct a new nuclear power plant, what kind of technology would it bring to the table that the current plants are really like 60 or 70 years old technology.
Well, that's true, but you have to understand that the current plants have been upgraded a lot. They get upgraded every single year. We're going to go to a quick break. I want to get more into this. Don't go away. I'm going to put you on mute. We're going to go to a quick break. You YouTubers, hang on. We'll be right back after this with more X Squared Radio. Good question on nuclear power plants. You're going to like this. We'll be right back.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Closing out Pride Month. Trump's back from the DMZ. I'm Evan Haining. There were LGBTQ pride parades across America on this last day of June. One of the biggest was in New York City. Marchers and onlookers took over much of Midtown Manhattan with a procession that lasted hours and paid tribute to the uprising that began at the Stonewall Inn on June 28, 1969. Correspondent Polo Sandoval says there were events in other nations as well.
Portugal to Peru to Paris. Even in Istanbul, where the governor of Turkey's largest city banned pride activities, citing security concerns.
What rain cut Chicago's parade short, there are storms to the west and south of Chicago this evening and high temperatures in many states all day long. President Trump is back in Washington after becoming the first sitting U.S. president to set foot in North Korea. Correspondent Will Ripley reports the president's historic meeting with dictator Kim Jong-un was organized hastily.
U.S. and North Korean officials scrambled to overcome logistical and security hurdles, creating surreal moments. Kim's bodyguards and the Secret Service together at the DMZ.
On Thursday, correspondent Sarah Westwood reports Trump will address the July 4th celebration in Washington.
There will be a flyover of Blue Angels jets. Those are jets in the U.S. Navy. And also, we can expect a flyover of one of the planes that serves as Air Force One. Of course, President Trump will be on the ground that day. He won't be in it, so it won't technically be Air Force One because President Trump is set to deliver a speech called Salute to America on the steps of the National Mall.
Actually, on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, a small plane crash has killed 10 people in Addison, Texas. The plane crashed into an unoccupied hangar this morning, shortly after takeoff. The FAA has sent investigators to seek the cause. I'm Evan Haining.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
We do have a caller on hold. I want to bring him back on right now. We're talking about nuclear power plants, why we haven't built many in the United States. It's been a long time. I think, if memory serves me, the last one to come online was Watts Bar in Tennessee. And even though it was begun in 1973, I think it came online in, 1986?